Hi, I'm Kerry. I'm a retired financial advisor, and I've built this channel, Best of Us Investors, around my style of investing. And to give you a kind of a summary of what I try to do, I try to find those companies that are involved in a growth industry, but right now are currently depressed. That is happening as we speak. We all know that NVIDIA is exploding, and supermicrocomputer is exploding, and Micron is exploding, but the rest of the semiconductor world is depressed. And that's because you aren't buying new phones, you aren't buying new computers, and you aren't buying automobiles. And thus the manufacturing segment that produce those items are not growing, and thus the semiconductors that supply them in many cases are down as much as 40 to 60%. Because of inflation and because of interest rates, you aren't buying the hardware that they put their semiconductors in. At the other side, you have the data centers exploding because they need accelerated computing to give you the artificial intelligence that's wrapped around these large language platforms to deliver the amount of data that you're going to demand. Think of it as a garden hose. That's what we have right now in our internet system, and that's the data that's being pumped to you and I on a daily basis. Well, as we start accessing these large language platforms, we're going to need now a fire hose or even a sewer pipe in order to get that data into us. That's what's happening at the data centers. Now you have then in the future the build out of the delivery system as well. And that's what I look for. I look for the depressed stocks that can give me an annualized rate of return in excess of 25%. Well, how do I do that? Well, the first thing I did is I connect the dots. How does Wall Street do it? How does Wall Street learn which stocks are going to go up in the future and then buy them and then turn around and deliver us the information that they've already used to buy their holdings and thus bring us in to drive the prices up higher? How do they do that? Well, do we believe that they have people inside of NVIDIA that are feeding them information? No, that would be illegal, and that doesn't happen. But what happens is they assign people, analysts, to follow certain stocks. You might have 40 analysts or 100 analysts following NVIDIA, but you probably only have 4 analysts following AEHR, Air Systems. They make a testing device to make sure that the transistors that are on the transformers that are on that wafer all work. There's 1,200,000 of them on that wafer. If you put them into a chip and it doesn't work, and it happens to be a chip in a Tesla and it's running the autonomous driving system, you're into some deep trouble. So you have to burn them in. But as a result of this lack of interest in buying new phones and new toasters and new vehicles, AEHR is sales have come down 50%. They were growing at 50% a year, but because of your lack of interest in new phones and new cars, they're only growing at 25% now. So thus, their sales are down and their price is proportionately down 40%. So I recognize that and I follow it because they only have 4 analysts from Wall Street following it. So that information doesn't get out to the public. Well, how do I get the information? Well, I as I said, I'm a retired financial advisor. I was on the inside. How do they get their information? They don't have people inside. So how do they get their information? Well, they basically look at their press releases every morning. If right now, Jensen Huang is doing a conference out in, I believe it's San Diego, and every word that he is going to say on the stage today is going to be released in a press release this morning. So if I go to the press release and I read what Jensen is going to say, and I read that he's going to bless with his new chip and let them be collaborators on the developments of those, Chip, if I can read those, I know that the 100 analysts are reading it as well. And so what they're going to do is they're going to alter their recommendations, but first they've got to get it approved by their superiors, and then they have to turn it over to the trading floor, and the trading floor will make their trades, and then 3 days later, they'll release the information so you and I are aware of their upgrades of such and such stock, and thus they'll push the price up. They're already in. They'll push the price up through the retail market by making that delivery. Well, if I'm reading the press releases as well on just the 30 stocks that I follow, I know it before the public knows it. So I then share that with my tribe. My tribe is the people who got on the bus and became a part of our program. How do I share that information? I have what I call a cheat sheet. It has about 32 stocks on it. What I do is analyze those stocks both on a financial basis and a technical basis, and then go and find what the analysts are saying. What is the top price that NVIDIA is going to sell for in the next 12 months? Okay, what is it selling for today? Well, if it's selling for $900 today and its top price is going to be $1,000, I can only make 10% on the stock. I don't want to make 10% on the stock. But on the other hand, if I know that Air System is going to come back and it's selling for $14 a share, and as the EVs come back, it will go to 140, then I can 10x my money. So I know this because, and I also know there are only 4 analysts in all of Wall Street that are following Air Systems. Now I know because I've gone into their financials. They have a good solid group of people that they supply their system to, and their price is depressed by 40% right now. Okay? No debt, good moat, future sales, and what I know is the biggest part of their business is in the VEV market, and I know that our government has just said that we have 8% of the people in the United States today driving electric vehicles, and we have to get that to 66% by 2031. Okay, so I know Air Systems is going to come back. I know Wall Street isn't covering it. And I know as a result of reading this morning's press release that Air Systems just signed a contract to deliver roughly 25% of their last year's volume in the third quarter of 2024. So I know this. I share this information with my tribe, and the tribe looks at it on the cheat sheet and says, if we buy at today's price, based on Kerry's analysis and the fair value of this stock, we are going to make 167% over the next 12 months. That's what I do. That's what I do on a daily basis. I focus strictly on the AI and the semiconductor. I also recognize right now, as they are rebuilding and remodeling these data centers, they've got to build up the cooling system as well. That has nothing to do with semiconductors. It has to do with an air conditioning company. And I recognize that they've got a problem with these data centers with considering latency, particularly when it comes to autonomous vehicles. They cannot have a data center sitting in West Virginia and providing information to someone driving a car in downtown Chicago, and someone steps out and the autonomous automobile has a 3-second delay of that information. No, they have to have that data center in Chicago or very nearby. Well, how are they going to do that? Those servers have to be submerged. That's what I'm telling you. They got to build a big damn swimming pool and put those servers in. Well, who's doing that? I happen to know, and they are one of the companies on my cheat sheet. At the same time, who's going to be building all these data centers? Who has the capability all over the country and all over the world to build these data centers? That's not a semiconductor. That's concrete and steel and nails and bolts, and that's the company you need to find. For the next 5 years, these people are going to have all the work they can have. That's what my method of investing is all all about. I want to share it with you, and I want to share it with my tribe. We also then discuss this. Every Friday, we have a stock talk where I get on a phone on a Zoom call. We have the members come together, and we talk about what we learned this week, what we learned from Jensen's press releases, what companies we now know have been blessed by Jensen and said, you're going to be a part of my team and we're going to go forward. And if you read Jensen's press releases, you know that Jensen is taking the internet out of the chip. That's right. It will give you all the information you need for whatever you want to do and put it in your ears. Let's say you had all the data that was available relative to your SAT test. And you could go in and read the question and the answer would come into your ear. What if you were going to take the boards for your legal license and you could read the question, it would be picked up by a mic and the data would be in your ear. That's what Jensen has built. It's not connected to the internet. Sure, go to that legal exam and they shut down all internet access. You don't care because you've got it all in your ear. This is going to be provided to you by a company by the name of SoundHound. Now, how do I know that? I read NVIDIA's press releases. I listen to Jensen's earnings calls. I know what that company's doing. I know who they're partnering with, and I know who they're blessing for future extraordinary growth before you know about it, because you've got to wait for the analyst to make their presentation to their boss on Wall Street. Then you've got to wait for the Wall Street traders to buy the stocks. And then, after they've built their position, which might take a week or two, they will give you an upgrade on that stock. But the other option is to join the tribe. Come be with us and work together with a team of over 1,000 people who are trying to make better investment decisions in the midst of the best investment opportunity of your lifetime. I'm Kerry Grinkmeyer. I'm a retired financial advisor. I live in Birmingham, Alabama, and I just love doing this. And I love helping you make better investment decisions, understand the DAX code so you get to keep more of what you make, and then build family wealth so that you can make a difference in those people's lives who follow you. I'll probably be talking to you again real soon.